Have you been applying to dozens or hundreds of instructional design jobs and not getting any interviews? If you can connect with that, I'm going to share some suggestions with you that will help you land way more interviews and get offers at top choice companies. I know this struggle firsthand with applying to jobs because I'm a former teacher who had a really hard time landing ID interviews when I first started looking for jobs. I wasn't getting any responses, and it was really frustrating. So, a lot of what I'm going to show you in this video today is what helped me get to where I am now. If you don't know me already, my name is Joanna, and I'm an instructional designer at Amazon Web Services and also a bootcamp pro for Devlin Peck's ID Bootcamp, where I've helped many people with their resumes and portfolios to land corporate remote ID jobs. We're going to show you how you can modify the language that you're using on your resume and LinkedIn to land more interviews and just get you off to a better start with those interviews. But first and foremost, you'll want to make sure you have a really strong portfolio. This is going to do a lot of heavy lifting for you. And one of the biggest goals for optimizing your resume is to include your portfolio link on there so you can get people going to your portfolio more and really seeing what you can actually do. So check out the description for links to get help with your portfolio. And I also highly recommend checking out our showcase. The showcase is a great way to get inspiration for your own portfolio and just see what people are using to get jobs in the field. We have about 30 plus portfolios on here right now, and we're aiming to add at least 10 more. Reframing the language you use on your resume is really important because it helps you get past those ATS systems or those computer software systems and better match keywords and just brand yourself overall as an ID. So we're going to take a look at an example of a teacher resume and how you can reframe that to a general ID resume. So you can see here we have a position, an ESL teacher position, grades 9 through 12. They've made some immersive ESL lesson plans to improve students' abilities. They've hosted some professional development sessions for coworkers and reviewed and revised course materials to make them more effective. So this is great for the teaching space. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this if you in a teaching role. But we'll just want to reframe this to make it a bit more general to the ID space and avoid some of that teacher-specific terminology or that teacher-specific jargon. So here is an example of the same position and how we've reframed it to be, just to be more geared towards the ID space. So instead of saying teacher, first of all, we suggest saying educator. It's a bit more general. And if you've done a lot of instructional design work in your role as a teacher, then we suggest adding that to the job title as well. So saying educator and instructional designer, just to show that you have done ID related work in this role. And this also goes along with helping you brand yourself better as an ID when you are applying. Some other examples, instead of saying lesson plans or courses or curriculum, which can be pretty teacher specific, we suggest saying learning experiences instead. This is, again, more general and just something we often see more in the ID space. Another one would be saying learners instead of students. Again, keeping it more general. And instead of saying professional development sessions, a phrase that we see often in the ID space and just you might come across often on job postings is instructor-led training sessions instead of saying professional development sessions. And then a lot of times, instructional designers are working with adult learners most often, or, a lot of times that's generally what the position calls for. So instead of saying coworkers, you can say adult learners instead. So these are just some quick tips to kind of show you how those simple changes can make a big difference in getting past that ATS software and helping connect the dots and show that you do have the skills that they're asking for. So now that you know how to reframe your resume, let's talk about how we can tailor that resume to each job posting that you're applying for. Tailoring your resume means you'll create multiple versions of your resume for every job that you apply to. And this is really important for keyword optimization and just showing hiring managers that you can do what they're actually asking you to do. So let's take a look at an example of a general ID resume that was taken up a level and tailored to a specific job. So actually, this is my resume that we're looking at here. And this is my general ID resume that I've already reframed from my teaching experience. And you can see that it's already a really, it's already a strong resume. It has good ID terms in here, saying things like e-learning experiences or audiences instead of students. Saying things like e-learning tools or subject matter experts and multimedia assets and microlearning. So if I wanted to apply with this resume, that would be pretty effective. But I can, take this to the next level and create another version of it for the specific job that I'm applying to. So that's what I did here. I found a job posting on LinkedIn, and I created another version of my resume for it. I first started by, really analyzing the job description and highlighting those keywords and those phrases that I felt related to the experience that I have, related to those transferable skills. And then I went through my resume, line by line and tried to use those words or those phrases wherever possible. So in this first example, you can see that I said prototype and iterate based on user feedback. And that was in place of saying design and develop. Prototype and iterate is part of designing and developing. So I felt that related similar to those skills. And then also, I was taking user feedback to prototype and iterate to actually create those e-learning experiences. Same thing here. Instead of saying learning experiences, the job posting was using the phrase skills-based learning experiences pretty often. So because I felt like, that was something I was doing in this job, I was creating learning experiences to help develop people's skills. I changed the phrase to say skills-based learning experiences instead. Same thing with instructional product training. I was creating a lot of training around like e-learning tools and just helping learners get more familiar with using those e-learning tools. So that's essentially, a training to help people get more familiar with different products. And I just want to call out here that we are in no way saying that you should put anything untruthful on here. You definitely want to make sure that you can stand behind everything that you're saying and then it does relate to the skills that you actually have. It's just kind of a matter of how you're tweaking that to match what's being said on the job description. Another example is in this third one. So my original bullet point, I'm just saying develop job aids, infographics, and templates to help people work more efficiently. So that's, there's not a lot of information there. It's pretty simple. But as I was reading the job posting, I noticed that they wanted someone that had familiarity with scaling learning during new hire orientation. And that was actually what I was doing in this particular job posting, or in this particular job, just in this responsibility of this job. So I felt like this was a good place to clarify that detail that was indeed what I was doing and just using it in that same way that they were using it on the job posting. And then same thing here. So instead of saying partner with subject matter experts, the job posting was saying build credible and collaborative relationships with subject matter experts. So I just tweaked it to kind of capture that instead. And again, it still holds true to that idea of partnering with them. It's just how the language is being adjusted to reflect what's in the job description. So these are just, some small tweaks and changes that you can make on other versions of your resume for each job posting. And it can go a really long way in just getting past those ATS systems and showing hiring managers that you can do what the job is asking you to do. So now that you know how to optimize your resume, let's get into how we can use that same information to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile is actually really important. As a former teacher myself, I really underestimated the need for a strong LinkedIn profile. I rarely used it, and I didn't really understand how much it played a role in being able to land interviews. So you'll want to brand yourself as an ID every chance you get, especially in the experience and header sections. We're going to take a look at an example from Wendy Van Norden, who does a great job of optimizing her LinkedIn profile. So you can see here, right away in the headline header, she has relevant keywords to the field. So you'll want to make sure that you're not putting things like former teacher or aspiring ID on here, especially if you are applying to ID jobs. You'll want to just, own that and put that you are an instructional designer. And she also has, again, those relevant job titles like learning experience designer, learning and development consultant, and things like that. So that's really effective. She also has a link to her portfolio right away in this section, which is awesome. And then if you scroll down, her portfolio is also featured again. And it's even included in the about section as well, with a call to action to check it out and go to her website. So it's all very clear, all very visible, and just invites people right away when they come to her page to check out her portfolio. Also in the experience section, you'll see that she's using a lot of similar language and terms that she's using from her resume. So for example, things like stakeholders, subject matter experts, learning solutions. These are all great ID terms that she's pulling from her resume and also including on her LinkedIn profile. Some other examples here that we can see, like instructor-led training, learners instead of students. So this is all really effective and just a good way of optimizing your profile to include that same language that you're using on your resume. You'll also want to connect with as many ID professionals as you can. That's just going to help you show up in the searches more often and help hiring managers find you more easily. So just in general, you'll want to reframe your entire professional mindset in every possible avenue, whether that's on your resume, your LinkedIn profile, or just in the way that you're connecting with other ID professionals. And you're going to see that really helps make a big difference in landing those ID interviews. Keep in mind, you don't need to have years of formal ID experience to start applying for these jobs. You just need to be able to show that you can do the work and then reframe that experience on your resume and your LinkedIn profile to help connect the dots for hiring managers. If you'd like to work with me, Devlin, and the rest of our team on your portfolio and job search, feel free to join us in the bootcamp where we'll give you personalized feedback and support. You can check out the link in the comments for more information or go to idbootcamp.com. So now that you have these tools, get out there and start applying for those jobs. Let us know how the interviews go and check out the channel for more resources to help you with that as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.